what are the prerequisites of learning machine learning. So let's start with Prakash, who is the one who's from the maths
Yes.
background. Let's get his opinion first, and then we'll all pitch in.
Yes. So that definitely very interesting question, and mostly people misassume about this prerequisite part of machine learning. Although I come from a technical and scientific background, but my take would be that the prerequisite for learning the machine learning is just your intellectual, just your interest. You don't need to know the mathematics and statistics. You don't need to know anything. If you are not from a computer science background, that doesn't really make any difference. Only the thing is that you just need to put your intellectual and your interest. So as I earlier also stated, that learning the machine learning is all about understanding the analogy of learning, that this time you are not controlling the logic of your program and output, but machine is learning and doing it for you. It means you need to understand the whole environment. So and end of this learning, you might be sitting at the point where you are evaluating the machine learning algorithm. You might be developing it, you might be testing it, and you might be taking it to the production. So definitely somebody who's not doesn't come from the background of mathematics or even any scientific department, it doesn't really make much difference. It is all about the intellectual and having interest. Yes, just one point I would like to emphasize here: machine learning is the field which is a experimental, a empirical field. You need to study a lot, you need to explore a lot, so that you should be always ready when you want to enter into the machine.
Yes. So, like Prakash said, this is exactly right. The misconception many people have is like, first I need to know all the probability, then I need to know all the linear algebra, then I need to know all the matrices, then I need to know all the statistics, and only then I'm ready to go into machine learning. That's the common assumption, and that is not correct, because as we said in the previous question,
Achinkya? I think he froze.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Achinkya will be back right away. Is he
yes,
back?
sorry,
I think he's back.
yes, I'm back. Yes. So internet connection problem. So as I was mentioning, the last time where I got cut off was there are a lot of roles, and according to the role, there is a different prerequisite level. If you are joining in as a statistician, of course the stats is going to be the prerequisite. Not if you are going to be the applied ML engineer, then the cloud computing, you need to know cloud computing, you need to know DevOps tool, you need to know data analytics tools. If you are joining in as, let's say, someone from, let's say, data analyst, then you need to know dashboarding tools, you need to have a key insight into how data patterns are there, what patterns are important, what are not. you know if you are a decision maker, if you are a domain person, so maybe Jan, if he's joining a data science company, then he will most likely be going in either as a decision maker or someone from the domain knowledge. So for them, it's going to be a deep insight into the domain in which the data science project is going to be done. That is going to be the prerequisite. So you see, based on, again, what's your background and what's the role you are targeting, the prerequisite is going to be different. And the most popular prerequisite is actually, which is available on internet, is this for researcher. So when you simply Google the question, what's the prerequisite, you are going to get this answer. You need linear algebra, you need probability, you need math, you need this. So like if you are going to do that prerequisite, I think it might take you 4 years. That's how much prerequisites are. But that's only if you're becoming a researcher. Most people are either going to be developers or AI engineers. For them, the prerequisites are not that deep. And this is very common mistake because of which people fail to learn machine learning. So when I was learning, so it's like I knew around maybe 1,000 people who were regular into meetups of AI. But out of 1,000 people, I think eventually only 10 people learned. So the percentage of people who actually learn ML is maybe 1%. So 99% of people drop off because they go for a wrong prerequisite route. They are aiming to be researcher, and these prerequisites are too huge. Whereas for others, these prerequisites are much more manageable. I, for example, didn't have that extensive prerequisite knowledge Prakash had. He comes from maths background, so he would know all the stuff which was actually in the prerequisite. But maybe he himself can tell you how much did he use that knowledge into the actual job.
Definitely, it's quite interesting that all the prerequisite is quite decorative in these days. But when it comes to actual work, even in working on the applied research and product, we don't apply, we don't think everything in terms of probability, in terms of statistics. It is our knowledge and it's our intuition which actually works with the experimentations. So I really support the answer from the Ajinkya that it is not about the prerequisite mentioned in the Google search that you need to know the probability, metrics, and all these things. We can just summarize in a that I could conclude this in a one statement like when you need to learn a language to speak. So you don't learn the each and every word of the language before you want to speak it. You just learn few and start speaking, and eventually you don't know, but you learn the grammar and everything about the language. This is how data science and machine learning works. So do not think much about prerequisite. Just start with what is your strongest point, and eventually your journey will be taken off the way you are designed yourself. So yeah, that's very important.
Perfect. That's a great way to conclude. Because Jan also comes from non
Yeah.
mathematical background, right?
Yes, a non-mathematical background, and just to make one point, and actually, Chinka, you already mentioned it. I just wanted to highlight it. In my opinion, a prerequisite is you have to be curious, like curiosity about solving problems, because at the end, like all what you do with machine learning or data science is to solve a problem, and you have to think about those problems. What do you want to solve? So I think that type of curiosity in whatever organization you work, that you identify, okay, what are the problems we can solve through machine learning, through data science, and this is for me a very that's a prerequisite, that you have to bring that strive for problem solving, because at the end, if you're outstanding in the technical implementation, but you work on the wrong problems, for example, or don't have ideas about what to solve, that's not going to be helpful. So really think about the problem solving as well. That's just a point I wanted to make.
Awesome. Cool.